Hi everyone, welcome back to USCIS Analysis. I'm really sorry for the long wait since my last update, but this time I have a little bit of good news. This is the update for September 18th, 2022, regarding the processing times for the I-129F Petition for Alien Fiancé by USCIS. First, let me give my usual disclaimer. I am not affiliated with USCIS and I am not an immigration lawyer. I'm just a guy with some data mining skills trying to better understand how long I'm going to have to wait until my fiancé and I can move to the US to get married. This data mining takes a lot of effort, so I want to share it with as many people as possible. Jumping right in, this chart shows the number of cases that have been closed each week for the past year. The good news is that there's a clear increase in the number of cases that USCIS has been able to close over the past 4 weeks. In fact, last week, USCIS was able to close nearly 550 I-129F cases, which is a new record for USCIS from what I can tell. Cases approved are shown in green, cases denied are shown in red, and cases withdrawn by the applicant are shown in brown. USCIS has been approving around 88% of I-129F cases. Unfortunately, the figure of 555 cases that USCIS has closed last week is still well below the number of incoming cases, which has consistently been around 800 cases per week for the past half a year or so. This chart shows the status of all cases grouped by the week they were received by USCIS. Just like the previous chart, green means approved, red means denied, and brown means withdrawn by the applicant. Blue is the number of cases that have been received but haven't been processed yet. Orange is the number of cases that were rejected at the time of application due to some error with the application. Yellow is the number of applications that have begun to be processed but require some additional information from the applicant. There are currently more than 50,000 applications that are still waiting for a resolution. There are two important takeaways from this chart. First, it's clear that USCIS is currently focusing on processing cases that were received before August 2021. Cases that were received from August 2021 or later are basically not being processed yet. In other words, USCIS is currently processing cases from around 14 months ago. Another important point to take away from this chart is that USCIS is continuing to receive around 800 cases per week. The backlog of open I-129F cases is currently more than 50,000 cases. So, to start reducing this backlog, USCIS needs to be processing more than 800 cases per week. Unfortunately, even though USCIS is doing better, processing 550 cases last week, they are still processing too few cases to keep the wait time from increasing. Over the past 4 weeks, USCIS has been able to close 470 cases per week on average. This chart shows the cases for which the status has changed in the previous 4 weeks, specifically in the 4 weeks between August 21st and September 17th of 2022. From this chart, we can see that over the past 4 weeks, USCIS has been mainly processing applications that were received between May and July of 2021, with focus on cases received at the end of June and beginning of July 2021. If your case was received before August 2021, but you haven't heard anything from USCIS yet, here's some more detail for you. This chart shows the status of cases that were received before August 2021 by the date that they were received. Many of the cases that were received in July 2021 are still waiting to be processed, but I expect that you will likely hear something within the next few weeks. Here are some projections for the I-129F cases that were received after July of 2021. This is assuming that USCIS continues to close around 470 cases per week, which is the average rate over the past 4 weeks. USCIS doesn't process cases in a strict order, but rather over a window of about 7 weeks. Because of this, I'm showing two projections, a 50% probability and a 95% probability. I'll explain this in more detail in a later video. Here are some projections for applications that were received in 2022. Please note that these projections assume that USCIS does not improve processing times. However, these projections are so far away that I have to believe USCIS will improve by then, so I expect these projections to improve over time. Indeed, USCIS has set a goal for themselves to reduce processing times for I-129F applications to only 6 months by October of 2023. At the moment, they are still clearly heading in the wrong direction, so I'd like to ask you all for your help. Please take a moment to write to your or your sponsor's senator and congressman to help us put more pressure on USCIS to improve this worsening situation. Links to finding the contact information for your senator and congressman are in the top comment below. I really hope that you found this information helpful so that you can better plan your future with your soon-to-be spouse. If so, please help me spread this information to others by giving a like to this video. Also, I'll definitely continue to track this situation, so please consider subscribing to keep up with the latest. Thanks!